This is one of my live steam engines. I believe it's from the late 60s, early 70s, and I think it is handmade. I don't really know a lot about steam engines, and I want to learn a lot about them. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything about the other ones that I've got. I'm going to show you as and when I'll strip them down and rebuild them, because I need to build these. I need to do these as an investment and also another hobby, seeing as I can only sit down at the minute. It has a flywheel, it has a piston, it has valves. That's the valve chamber, I believe. I don't really know a lot. Anyway, it does have issues, as you can see. When I turn the flywheel, you can see that there is actually play. Now, although this does actually run smoothly on steam, it rattles a bit. So I've got a lot of work to do. As you can see, there is play all over it, so it has been used quite a lot. It's not perfect condition, but that's the reason I bought it, is because number one, it's running, and number two, it's not in perfect condition because I want to do it. These screws are terrible. I can't. This has got to be perfect. The reason why I got it is to make it perfect. So I'm going to start stripping it down, and then I'm going to rebuild it, find out what's what, make it better, make it 100% perfect in every way. I'm carefully taking it all apart. I have to roll my sleeves up for this, I think. We've got the base here, which I'm going to replace all the mounting screws and everything. In fact, I think I'll replace all of the screws. And on the piston itself, you can't really see inside there. It don't look too bad. It's not scored, it's not bad. Looks quite well machined actually. Anyway, one thing I've noticed, a couple of things I've noticed. These are basically the piston rings. You see that one's too small. That front one looks okay. The worrying part is the gasket. I don't know who put it back together last time, but they didn't fit the gasket on properly. So I'm going to have to make a gasket out of gasket material. These things, they come apart. It's quite easy to get them apart with your imperial screwdriver. I'm going to take the valve cover off and see what the state of that is in there. It doesn't feel, I'd say it feels a bit ropey to me. This is what annoys me, right? I mean, obviously somebody sprayed this for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't like the spray that sometimes they do, but I don't like it when they don't do it properly. It looks like they've just masked this off here and sprayed over that. Unbelievable. You take all this time in making something, it's not all lined up properly, and then you just spray over it like that. I haven't really recorded much about stripping this thing down because it's, you know, boring, but I've nearly finished rebuilding the piston and the valve chamber. That is actually a valve chamber which you can just about, well, you probably can't, possibly see the valves in there, which is a reciprocating sort of action when the piston goes in and out. Now, this was covered in green paint. Now I don't know why, but was it that side? That side there, that was all covered in silver solder, and I don't know why. And well, you can see it there as well. It was actually plastered in silver solder, but it looks like, you see, I was thinking that this was actually a piece of brass, and then it was going, this piece was a section that was put on afterwards. but it isn't. This is actually one set, it's one piece, one cast. So I don't know why this silver solder's here, and I definitely don't know why it was piled really high on this side. There was green paint over the top of it, and I started taking it off. Basically with isopropyl alcohol it just wiped off, and it just came off beautifully. Now I'm not shining this up. This is a sort of a satin finish, because I think it looks a lot more authentic and it's a lot easier to keep clean, to be honest. If you polish it, it's got to be kept polished, and I haven't got a display cabinet, so, but anyway, there's that. These are actually the piston rings, which is standard O-rings, 13 with a 13mm outside diameter, 2mm diameter ring, so that's 9mm internal, and there's two of them, but one of them is actually smaller than the other, so one of them was doing absolutely nothing. Obviously they go on the piston, which is in there. When I get to fit those, I'll show you the piston and everything else. Now this is the condition that sort of thing that was in before. So I've had to do a hell of a lot of work. There's probably about 12 or 14 hours just cleaning that up. I'm waiting for my gasket material to come in so I can make a valve. I don't even know what that's called. The valve chamber. The something chamber. That goes on there. Obviously you've seen these gaskets. There's one goes on that end and one goes on that end. So I've got to make some of those when the material comes in. And also the bolts, the nuts and the bolts. These are 6B, I think they're 6BA. And there are some 7BA bolts, so I can't get them all the right length, so I'm going to have to cut my own. I've got some nuts and bolts coming, so I can cut them. I ain't got a problem with that. I don't know whether to start working on this one next. Mammoth steam engines are shiny. I reckon they look better shiny because that's how they came out of the factory, and you can see how tarnished this has got, although somebody has actually cleaned it. I'm amazed at the compression that that's got. It has got a lot of compression. I bought this one not for an investment, not for anything really. It brings back a lot of memories, and I remember sitting down and asking him and saying, "Dad, can you get the steam engine out?" It does bring back a lot of memories. So this is going to be stripped down. I might do it next, or I might get the other one out, which I'm not going to show you yet. The other one is an absolute work of art. Absolute work of art. Fantastic piece of kit. Before I go any further, I've got to explain something. I can only do this for certain amounts of time before things start aching and I have to go and lie down. But the other thing, I'm not a machinist. I'm not a qualified, what do they call it now, metal worker. I did do, I did it at school, but I'm just meticulous. I'm also waiting for some BA studs and screws and God knows what else to come in, because these are actually old BA studs and screws and everything. Dickhead. I faced this off, lovely and smooth now. Here's the, I don't even know what you call these parts yet because I've never done these. I'm just doing it by eye. I'm basically winging it. I'm watching a few videos. That sits on there. There's the valve holes. Now the holes actually go, if you can see, there's one there and there's one there. So that one goes there, that one goes there, and that one in the middle comes out there. I don't know, I think that's the exhaust. I don't know. I think what happens is, as this pushes along and it opens that port, the piston goes in there. Now if I say that the piston's halfway, when that valve is open, it causes pressure on this side and it'll push it that way, like that. And then as it comes back round, it'll open that side and it'll cause pressure. It'll cause pressure on this side and it'll push the piston that way. And that's basically how it works. And then the one in the middle is obviously the exhaust. These are quite rough cuts, as you can see. I'm not going to touch those at all. I daren't, because they are cut to an exact size, and that is exactly the right size for that. So if I start messing around with it, and I don't know why, but that's the slot in there is off centre. This piece is so rough, but it does move freely. This has got to move freely. Now, there's nothing that holds this onto that apart from air pressure, steam pressure. So this has to be nice and free, that has to be nice and free, that has to be nice and free onto that, so it moves up and down and sideways and everything else. And it's literally air pressure, steam pressure that actually holds this thing in place. So there are no seals, it literally moves, it just moves backwards and forwards like that. So the centre punch marks there, so that's got a number 2, that's got a number 2, so I know that goes on there. So they have marked it out. Although the holes themselves aren't, you can't just put it like that, it has to go a specific way, which is probably that way, because all the holes line up. So all this has been drilled by hand. I don't know how old it is, but you know, it's all handmade by the looks of it. Having taken all this apart, I mean, this is the concentric, don't even know what you call it, bearing. Half of this seems that it was never actually finished properly. It was always a that'll do sort of thing, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to face all this up and make it absolutely mint, because I can't see any reason why we've got all these edges. That's a bit, focus you, that's a bit bent, so I need to flatten that off and also clean it up because it's rather rusty. So I'm going to get all these cleaned up now. I'm going to start with this, because this is the most annoying. Look at that. I'm going to get my file out. Oh yeah, I've only got basic tools. I haven't got a milling machine, I haven't got a pedestal drill, I haven't got a lathe, I haven't got anything. I've got a file and that's it.